They called him a monster in a suit. Ruthless, emotionless, and powerful, Damian King built his empire by crushing anyone who stood in his way. Employees feared him, competitors envied him, and women never got close, because he never let them. Then came her. A girl with nothing but a tattered coat, a stubborn spirit, and eyes that held a storm of pain. She wasn't supposed to be in his world, yet she was the only one who saw past his walls. But could a man who had everything fall for a woman who had nothing? Have you ever judged someone before knowing their story? Comment below if you believe love can change even the coldest hearts. The rain poured like needles onto the cold pavement of New York City. Damian King stepped out of his black Rolls-Royce, his sharp jaw clenched as he adjusted his custom Armani suit. He despised rain, not because it ruined his expensive shoes, but because it reminded him of the past he buried. That's when he saw her. Curled up against the wall of his skyscraper, shivering, covered in nothing but a thin coat that had more holes than fabric. A homeless girl. She was hunched over, hugging herself for warmth. Her long chestnut hair clung to her face, her cheeks hollow, yet something in her emerald green eyes sparked a fire in his chest. "Get rid of her," Damian ordered coldly, turning to his assistant. Before the man could move, she spoke. "Don't," she whispered, her voice hoarse yet defiant. "You don't own the sidewalk." For a second, Damian just stared. No one spoke to him like that. No one challenged him. Then she did something unexpected. She smiled. Not the kind of smile that begged for pity, but a smile filled with strength. A smile that told him she had nothing to lose. And that intrigued him. The next morning, she was still there. Damian, irritated yet oddly fascinated, stepped closer. "You're persistent," he muttered. The girl stretched her arms, unbothered. "And you're rich. Seems like we both have problems." His lips twitched, a reaction he wasn't used to. She amused him. "Do you want a job?" The words left his mouth before he could stop them. Her head snapped up. "A job? I don't do charity. But if you're going to sit outside my building, you might as well be useful." She narrowed her eyes, crossing her arms. "And what exactly would I be doing?" "You'll find out Monday," he said smoothly, stepping into his car. She called after him, "What if I say no?" His smirk was pure arrogance. "You won't." And she didn't. Because when you have nothing, you don't say no to a chance, even if it means working for the devil. The office buzzed with whispers when she walked in. Wearing a simple white blouse and jeans, borrowed from an employee, she looked out of place among the polished professionals. Damian watched from his glass office as his staff gawked. Then she did something that shocked everyone. She walked right up to his desk, hands on her hips, and smirked. "So, boss," she said playfully. "What exactly is my job?" A few employees gasped. No one spoke to Damian King like that. His gray eyes darkened, but instead of anger, he felt amused. "You'll start as my assistant." She grinned. "Do I get to boss you around?" He scoffed. "Not in this lifetime." But as the days passed, she did. She challenged him. Questioned him. Made him laugh when he hadn't in years. And worse, she made him feel. One night, Damian found her in his office, staring at an old photograph. A picture of a little boy, bruised, scared, sitting alone in a foster home. "You were him," she whispered, looking up at him. His chest tightened. "It's none of your business." She stepped closer, her voice softer now. "You built walls so high, you forgot what it's like to be human." His hands curled into fists. "You think you know me?" She didn't flinch. "I know you're lonely." Silence. No one had ever dared to say that to him. But she did. Because she saw him. The boy who had been abandoned. The man who was terrified to love. And that terrified him. One night, he found her sitting on the rooftop, staring at the city lights. "Why you were staying every day, outside on the street?" Damien asked Emma. Long answer in short, I had nowhere to go. I was orphaned young, I bounced between foster homes, then aged out with no support. A failed job, bad luck, and an eviction left me homeless. Emma told him. Yesterday I offended you in front of whole office for a small mistake. If you want you can left the office, he muttered, sitting beside her. Why did you stay? She smiled, hugging her knees. Because I saw something in you. Something worth saving. His heart ached. He had spent years making people fear him, but she wasn't afraid. And that made him want her more than he'd ever wanted anything. So he leaned in. And for the first time in his life, he let himself fall. But love was never easy. One night, his jealous business rival spread rumors that she was only with Damien for his money. Damien, blinded by anger and insecurity, confronted her. Did you play me? His voice was sharp, cold, just like the man he used to be. Her eyes filled with tears, but she lifted her chin. Is that what you think of me? He hesitated. And that hesitation was enough to break her heart. She walked away that night, leaving him in the darkness he thought he wanted. But the moment she was gone, he realized, he couldn't live without her. Damien searched for her for days. And when he finally found her back in that same alley, the place where it all began, he knew. He knelt in front of her, his powerful hands trembling. I was a fool, he whispered. But if you give me another chance, I'll spend the rest of my life proving that I don't deserve you, but I'll never stop trying. Tears streamed down her face. You're an idiot, she whispered. His lips twitched. I know. Then she did something that made his icy heart melt completely. She grabbed his collar and kissed him. And for the first time in his life, Damien King finally knew what it felt like to be truly alive. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe.